Hey, it's Barry Upton here with one of my best friends ever here in Thailand. We've known each other a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's SJ, Sarah Jayne.
Hi, Barry.
You have been here even a little bit longer than I have, haven't you?
Gosh, yeah, 22 years. 2002 came to Thailand.
What made you come to Thailand in the first place?
Blimey, 22 years ago. I was 22 years younger and just had my daughter. And my husband and I decided, you know what, we want to get out of England. Quality of life. We were, we were on this pathway that our baby was born, and it was a case of, well, now it would be, maybe get a bigger home, a bigger car, put her into nursery because we were both so busy.
So you've been here a few times before?
Yeah, ever since I was a teenager.
And you fell in love with Thailand?
I opened my eyes. When I first came to Thailand, I was 17, and what was a shock for me, I was like small town England, and then recognized there's all these expats here, and it just, wow, you can actually choose where you want to live. That was a big eye-opener for me.
Right.
And then when I met my husband, he was on the same page as me, that England seemed to not be as good anymore, the quality of life, what we wanted life, which was time and quality of time.
Things weren't like they used to be.
Yeah, we all say that, right? You look back and think it's not like it used to be. And then when you had, Thailand was a very easy choice, very easy to come. And back then the visa situation was a bit different. It was very easy to come. And like most people, so give it a go, a couple of years, and then 22 years on, and you're still here.
You've raised a family here.
Yeah, 2 daughters.
Yeah.
It's been great. I've only got good things to say about Thailand, actually. As you have, because then you came.
One of the reasons that we're friends is that we're both very positive people, right? Which will be evident a little bit later on in this chat. But I want to hear about how you started life, because you didn't have a very great childhood, did you?
Well, yeah, I had a dysfunctional family, and so I left my family home very early because dysfunction, and ended up in the care system, But I don't regret that or anything. That propelled me to be the independent and optimistic person that I am.
Yeah.
Because I recognized very early I didn't have the family to fall back on. If mum's not there and dad's not there, and that's taken away after the jarring initial shock of, oh my God, I'm on my own. And then you recognise, oh my God, I'm on my own. The freedom in that, the independence in that. Like, a lot of people would love to leave England, but mum's there, grandma's there, dad's there, and that's a very good tie to keep you in, you can't just, but for me, that wasn't there. So it was like, great.
So your situation made you think more independently?
Definitely, 100%. I don't look back at it and think, oh my God, like, poor me. I look back and think, honestly, there was a lot of dysfunction in my house, and I used to dream of leaving. I used to dream of being able to get away. And then I just feel like, and I used to think I had to wait until I was 16, because, in England, it's 16 you can leave home. And honestly, I used to have that goal in mind. I'm 16 and I'll leave. And
where did that independence lead you? I mean, what did you do in the big wide world?
Anything I wanted to. At the time, there was a song, I think it's a Lightning Seeds, and there's one line in there, and my friends used to recognise, SJ, that's your song, you don't know what to do, so you do anything you like, because I didn't have anyone to think like, oh my God, what will my mum say, or my dad's not going to tolerate this, or anything like that. So we just hit the road, and I travelled a lot. Lots of different people, lots of clubs, lots of times I can't quite remember, but it was good.
And meeting people is a great educator, isn't it? And also travelling is one of the best educations you can have.
As you know, as I say, when I was 17 in England, thinking, when you think about where you might like to live, or move out to the suburbs or something, and then you travel and you think, oh my God, the world is huge, and you can choose, especially, coming from England, we're so lucky to have had our education system. Even if you didn't follow it through to university or further on, even if you left school at 15, which you can do in England, you have had a greater education than 90% of the world. And we don't recognise that. We fail to be grateful for that. I'm so grateful. And then seeing you coming to Thailand, but also I travelled around many countries, recognising that because you have a British passport, you're welcome
Right.
everywhere. You know, if you wanted to live anywhere, you can.
So how did that lead you? You became a bit of an innovator and started
a business?
developing new things.
I did.
You were a businesswoman? Was it Businesswoman of the Year?
I was Young Entrepreneur of the Year.
Young Entrepreneur.
Business of the Year.
Right.
Yeah, I won 2 awards. I set up a business.
How did you do that?
Yeah, like you look back and you kind of think, how did I do that? It was so brazen, if you like, because I had this introduction to living abroad when I was 17. And I was like, right, I've got to live abroad. And I recognised very early, I can't get a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Because getting a salary, I am never going to be rich or wealthy enough to do that until many, many years, you know, of saving and probably when you retire. And I thought, I'm not going to get on that treadmill. The only way for me to make enough money to leave England is going to be to set up a business. Right. And then it's down to me. Whereas if you're on a salary, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter the hours you're putting in. You're still on a salary. You might get a pay rise, but you're never going to earn that capital sum, which will allow you to live.
Plus you get a lot of self-esteem from doing something yourself on your own back.
Yeah, I think my upbringing taught me that you independent, you want to make it happen, you have to make it for yourself. Yeah. Nobody's going to say, you know, here, mum and dad's money or even their help, you know. Yeah. And so I decided I would set up a business, and I fell into it, really. I was looking around. I was looking for something in America, because America at the time was so far advanced. It would.
And then in the 90s, it was easy to go there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was very cheap to go there.
It was cheap to go there, but I was looking for something that had taken hold in America, and it would be about 5 years. We were lagging about 5 years.
Right.
So I wanted to be on the bandwagon when it hit England. And then I got involved. I discovered, long before I had children or anything, but these diapers, nappies that we call in England, they call diapers. And so I set up my business, and my idea in mind was to set up the business so that I could either sell it or earn enough from it, so I would have a capital sum that I could then invest and then be able to live abroad on the interest. So that was my plan. Yeah. And it kind of changed, as all plans do, you know, they change. But yeah, anyway, 2002, I was already married by then, but then we got pregnant, and that was the catalyst. That was like, well, now these plans have to come to fruition. Otherwise, we were very keen on being a very present parents, you know? Yeah. Not child is in daycare whilst we're working. That's not what we wanted. So we had a daughter, Summer, who you know very well.
Yes. And she's gone to university, and she's doing really well.
Graduated now, yeah. She's doing her thing, and
she's travelling, following in your footsteps in a way.
Well, yeah, we hoped that we would give her a broader upbringing, sense of life that then we could have given her if we were in England.
And your younger one, Asia Lily, has had an unusual education in a way.
She has. Well,
you researched different types of education, didn't you?
Well, Summer did. Summer was homeschooled the whole way.
Right.
We tried a few schools. We weren't really happy with the type of school that we had, and we, in the end, decided to homeschool her. Homeschooled her the whole way until she got to 14. Then when 13, 14, she was thinking, you know what, I think I would like to try a school. And so we said to her, right, well, you choose the school. You have a look around. She knew different friends. She had different friends from different schools. So she chose a school that she wanted to go to. And so she started school, her first, real school, really, in year 10. Which is the beginning of your GCSEs. GCSEs are a 2-year program. So she started in year 10. She got good GCSEs, and then after GCSEs, then you do A-levels. And she was at A-level. We said, right, well, where do you want to go for A-levels? And she said, you know what, I don't want to go back to school. I can do these myself. And so she self-studied for her A-levels. Yeah. Then she went to university.
Independent thinker again.
Again, an independent thinker. I was so proud of her to come there, to do that. And then she went to university, got her Bachelor of Science, and then she got her Master's, and now she plans to do her PhD. So it hasn't held her back academically.
You must be very, very proud of her.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a trajectory that was like that. I chose homeschool, and most of the time she did great at it. But there were definitely wobbly moments where I was like, oh my God, like just my utopian thinking is going to ruin her. You know, she's not going to be there academically. You know, she didn't learn to read.
But Asian Lily is very similar. She's got her own mind, doesn't she? She's trying out different things and trying to be a little bit of an innovator.
She really does, yeah. And I think, you know, you don't know how much is nurture and nature. That's the whole question in life. You know, they still haven't buttoned it down to what is it. I think it's a mixture of both, but definitely having your eyes open to an early age.
Yeah.
To travel, and also, you know, I tell her about my past.
I think one of the things that binds us is an open mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most essential things in life. It has been for me.
Yeah. Change is the only constant. And when you come to a place like Thailand, you meet lots of different people who, you know, they're here now, but the paths that led them here is what's really interesting.
Yeah.
Whether they're retired or whether they're dropouts or whether they consciously decided to, you know, have a better life and why they think it's a better life compared to, you know, back in England.
Now, when we first met, you came onto my radio show.
Yes.
I remember when we used to have it outdoors, and and you were predicting everybody's future.
Oh, we did the tarot
cards.
yeah.
What led you to get an interest in that?
Other people, really. At the time, my girlfriends, when I was a teenager, you know, we used to hang out and things, and, you know, especially girls, they love the whole personality, what's going to happen, what type of person am I? And I was really interested in astrology. I was interested in astrology because I didn't believe in the magazines where, oh, you're a Taurus, so this is going to happen.
Sure.
I thought there must be something more to it. And so then I delved into it. Sure enough, you know, there's these other planets and it matters where they were when you were born, not just where your sun sign. So I got involved with astrology, and then there is a tie-in with tarot. And of course the tarot cards are very inviting. Right. Because they look so mysterious. Yeah. So I bought a set.
But is it open to interpretation? Is it your interpretation?
No. What the tarot cards do is, because you pick them, I don't pick the tarot cards for you. So actually it is the person you're doing the reading for, they're picking the cards. And it's not by chance.
But how random is it? Because they're just picking...
1 in 72 chance. 72 cards. No, they say that nothing happens. You know, it's not fate. We do have free will, but you know, it's a bit like you get on. You know, we say now in British language, you get on a roll. You know, like if your day starts off badly, then the next day, then it's like, how did that happen? Like I started off badly. I stubbed my toe getting out of bed this morning, and then I burnt my toast, and then I got a phone call that was bad news, and we do say that you invite all of that in from stubbing your toe.
Okay.
We should be more like the cats, you know, the cats fall over and then they just shake it off. You know, they have this literally shake. Right. Literally, they just shake it off and move on so that they get rid of that negative energy. Yeah. We keep energy. Likewise, we can do it with the same positive thing. Something happens and then something else happens, and then it's really good. That's what is really how we do with tarot. We are picking it based on our energy today, right now.
Amazing. Have you followed this up? Have you followed people up and seen if your predictions became
Definitely,
true?
Yeah. And because I'm quite a candid and blunt person as well.
I remember, this is 10 or 12 years ago, and the ones you picked for me were very positive.
There you go.
And
well, you're a positive person. It came from you.
And you did actually say I was going to get some more success.
Yes, and you have.
Which was right. So
yeah.
I have to say, you were correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many people does that happen for?
Well, people ask me to do them again. Can you do my cards? Can you do my cards? So therefore, they must have enjoyed the reading that they had.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm quite a blunt person. Sometimes I do the cards and I just say what I see, and then I think, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
But do you think that it sometimes colours people's attitude to life, and they think, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, so it may change their course of life?
Yeah, and most of mine, because I'm a positive person, I never say, oh my God, you're doomed, you might as well just, stay in bed because it's not working out for you. I never say something like that. I always believe in the human spirit to choose and to think better for themselves. You know, don't get trapped thinking this is all there is or this is all I can do.
Yeah.
Open up, you know. So a lot of my readings are about think bigger, think further.
And have you done readings for yourself?
I can't.
You can't?
Who
does readings for you then?
Yeah, sometimes, very rarely do I meet people who can do a reading for me. But I try, I think, right, okay, and I talk about myself in the third person. Like, okay, this is for Sarah Jayne. What is the... And then, like, halfway through or a quarter of it, I think, I'm just making this up.
Right.
This is not... Yeah, so I can't.
Now, this positive thinking of yours, right, has led you to this very moment in your life, which is a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm inspired by you because you're absolutely fighting, or you're meeting the challenge with vigour.
With vigour.
That's a good word, isn't it?
Snap. It is a good word because...
What's happened to you?
Well, I am currently end of life diagnosis. I had cancer 2 years ago, and then had the treatment and everything, and then it came back. And when it comes back, it's palliative care only. Terminal diagnosis. You're on this prognosis that it's going to end in life. But I believe we're all palliative. All our care should be palliative because nobody survives life. You've never met anybody who survives it, right?
And that's true. We're not getting out of this alive, are we?
Everybody does. It's just a question of time.
It's just when.
Yeah. That's right. And so it's quality, not quantity. Doesn't matter how long you live. It only matters the quality of life.
I remember about a year ago you said you only had 6 months.
That's right. That's what they said.
And you're still here.
15 months on.
And you're still looking great.
Feeling great, looking great, being great, So... my positive mindset comes with, I'm very clear about what I want. I didn't want to run back to England and get on the NHS and do that. I've lived here for 22 years. I have a great life here. I have a great home, family, friends, pets. This is where I want to be, up until that last breath.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in pain. No. But that means that I really have to manage it myself, which is a lot of Google research. Okay, what does that look like? When I'm in pain, what's the best things to get? Because what is good here is they do give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like I said yesterday, what do you want? I told him that one, and he gave.
But that's the practical side of it, right?
Right. But it means that you're independent, and there's freedom in that.
Right.
You're in control.
Oh, okay.
So that is part of the mindset. I'm not a passive. Well, what now, doctor? What do you say? You tell me. I don't want to do that. Yeah, it's like I'm an intelligent human being. I can read. I can have this gauge of what they would do in England and what they would do here, and I will decide.
I mean, you've got to think of your family, haven't you? And it's not just you.
Yeah.
You have to think of people around you, friends and family, and how they're going to feel.
Yeah. So it's obviously I think it's worse for people looking on. I really do. When you're the one dealing with something, you have a different perspective compared to people around you. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. There's a lot of hand-wringing. They can't express themselves freely because I don't want to upset. Like my husband, Alan. You've met Alan. He's a great guy, and he's so funny and humorous.
Yeah.
And there's one way to take the humour out of someone, and someone you love is going on this cancer journey, terminal cancer. It's the worst.
Although, like we've all had a couple of years to deal with this because we didn't think you'd be here now.
Exactly. So you're on borrowed time. That's the good thing about cancer. You have time.
Yeah.
It's not like I always think if someone has a car accident.
So do you look on your time now as a bonus?
Every day is a bonus, but everybody should look like that.
Yeah.
Everybody should. We read and we're so detached. We read, but especially in Thailand, we know 2,000 people a month get killed on the roads in Thailand. We just very nonchalant that it's not going to be. It's not me though. It's not me that. But if you go to the A&E department in the hospitals today and ask those people that were motorists who had an accident. Did they think they were going to have an accident today? No, they were just as nonchalant as we are.
Yeah.
So this could be your last day. Could be your last week. You just don't know. So everybody should live like it's their last.
I know exactly what you're saying because like 3 or 4 years ago I had the heart attack. Okay, it was a mild heart attack, but at the time I thought that might be the end. So every day for me is a bonus.
Yeah.
And isn't it a great way to look at life?
It really is. And don't worry about that. Apparently there's a war going on. I don't care. Is there? well, okay, because that really means nothing to me, and it shouldn't really mean anything to anyone unless you are actually part of it, you know, because we can't do anything. Our hand-wringing and pining about it all can't actually change anything, so what's the point? Look at I showed you that picture of me with the little bird on my...
Yes, beautiful picture.
That's, a little bird fell out of the nest, and I went to great lengths to make a new nest for it and put it there and feed it. What do you feed a baby bird? Apparently cat food is good, so I've got some tweezers, and that is life.
Well,
joy
it's a little bit of Thai karma as well. You do something good for...
Well, yeah, because I think, when you do go, what did you leave behind? Really,
that's an important. Now you've touched on something that I've often thought, and I'm always making videos and writing new songs. And I keep thinking, could this be my last? Is this my legacy?
It is.
Isn't that an important part of life?
Very much. What did you leave behind? And you left behind. You made that song recently, "Happy Fish."
Yes.
Right. I loved that because you exuded so much sunshine in that, and I was just thinking about your trajectory of doing that. So you had this idea, okay, you write out some lyrics, and okay, then you do the music, and okay, then you're going to record it, and then you're like, I'll shoot a music video. What can I do? I know, I will get in my pool and do this, and
we're surrounded by fish.
That's right. Nobody paid you to do it. You're not earning money to do it. It's just the joy of let me do that now. And then you got in there and then you did all the after effects, you put some fish, then you sent it to people, you sent it to me. So I catch it. I've got this video, and my girls know you, Summer and Asia Lily and Alan, and look what Barry's done. Happy fish, happy fish. And then we're singing along because it's about that circular.
The whole thing was about uncluttering your life, really.
Yeah. Then Summer goes off to Bali, and she sees a restaurant called Happy Fish. Oh, no, I think it's in Singapore. She went to Singapore. And then she sees a restaurant, Happy Fish, and so she takes a picture of that, like, oh, Barry's expanded, and sends it back to me. But look at that. You don't know who it's touching. Summer is carrying that with her in Singapore.
Part. And it's a bold thing to open yourself up to the world, to be ridiculed, really.
Absolutely.
But if you don't care about that, and I think this is an important lesson in life as well, which you have practiced your whole life.
Yeah. So it's wonderful that you do that. So it's only the things that you leave. Nobody in my family, Alan, Aisha, and Summer, and myself, if ever we see the word happy fish, whether it's a restaurant or on the side of a truck, we're going to think, oh, Barry, So you leave behind those little things. It's not the big things. It's the little things you leave behind. The joy, the phrases that I say. Like, I'm known in my household for bad jokes. I love puns. Yeah. Love wordplay. And they're like, oh, Mom, But when I'm gone, that will be what's carried on.
They'll be thinking about that and say, oh, I wish she was doing that.
Mum would have loved that one,
Yeah. Now, you're getting into these final days, final weeks, final months, you have quite a spiritual feel about it all, don't you?
I do.
And it's not really religious.
No, I'm not religious. I've got no time for any religion. But I do have a spiritual...
Tell us about that. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, okay, well, first of all, on a proof that I have had, I had a medical emergency back in 2016 or something like that, anyway. And I died for a little bit, I was on the operating table, and it was a big emergency. But what I recognised was as soon as I left my body, I shot out of my consciousness. The voice in your head, my consciousness shot out of my body like a rocket. There was no energy like it that I've ever experienced here in this body. And I shot out of my body and all the way until I reached a place where there was no body, if you like. And I remember looking around me thinking, I don't have a body. There's no arms, there's no legs, there's no body. And everything was one. There was no tunnel with grandma at the end of it or anything. When
you say everything was one,
I was...
Is there any way you can explain it?
Yeah, so I didn't have a body, but I thought I did because I felt like I was the space around me, and it was just all golden. First of all, it was like black, like outer space, and then it just turned to like a golden lake. That's all as far as I could look, like a gold on the horizon. And then I recognized in that moment that we are awareness having a slice of our awareness having an experience in this body. So a bit like the sunshine sending a sun ray, one of its rays.
Sure.
Now the ray is not the sun, but it's joined, or a drop of the ocean. It's not the ocean, but the drop thinks that it's its own thing.
Right.
You're just, and I think you just go back into the ocean or back into the sun, back into your whole awareness.
Yeah.
One thing I like to think, the voice in your head doesn't age, but your body certainly does.
That's very true.
But the voice is the same. It doesn't. Your actual voice changes. It becomes older. We can tell just by whether that's an older person or a young person.
I've said for years, in my mind, I'm still 27.
Exactly.
How did you feel when you came back into your body?
Honestly, at the time, a little bit disappointed. I was like, that was great. Well, why did I come back here? Like, what was that decision? Okay. But
now I've got to deal with stuff.
Yeah. Because honestly, it was so great. The feeling was so euphoric. It was so, wow, there's so much more to this. There's so much more to this. So I came back into, so I've had that experience, that proof, if you like. And then I have this, musing that we are the same in our head. We don't age. Our bodies do deteriorate, but our mind doesn't. And we look at a dead body, whether it's your pet or if you've seen a human dead body. And because the closest we can think is they look like they're asleep. Right. And so we think, and rest in peace. And what I've learned is, rest in peace is a blessing for the living, not for the dead. Yeah. Because there's no rest in death. It is exhilarating and full of vigor, just like when I left my body. And so I understand why we think rest in peace, because we think, they are sleeping now. And we like to think that all their troubles end, when they, dying is that escape from any trouble or sickness or pain, that you were having. Yeah. So we say, rest in peace, they are sleeping now, eternal sleep. We have all these sayings. But I know that not to be true from the experience I had, and from a scientific point of view. Energy doesn't just stop. It has to go somewhere.
So does this help you at this moment now, dealing with what you're having to deal with?
I think so, because I am not morose. I don't feel like I'm a victim. But then I have had the luxury of that experience, and I fully understand somebody who doesn't feel that way.
So you're not worried in the slightest? There must be a slight.
During the day, when the sun is up and I'm out and about doing my thing, I am very cheerful. I'm not putting it on. I am very cheerful. I'm kind of got a bit of the gallows humour.
You've always been like that.
I've always been like that. There's no difference. Yes, sometimes at 3:00 in the morning, if I wake up, but when the demon hour, your demons come to get you, and they magnify everything. Oh my God, but that's the case for many people. Yeah. Usually I sleep all the way through, but then I get oh God, but then I can turn.
What is the thing that worries you the most?
Being in pain. Having a 15-year-old daughter. Right. Now Summer is 21, nearly 22, and of course, losing a parent at that age is going to be difficult. But my children are amazing. They are resilient and independent,
Well, that comes from you.
Well, maybe it comes from me and Alan too. We've always treasured and loved independence more than anything. Yeah. And so when we've had sassy young children,
you've always let them be free to develop themselves.
Definitely. And
never stopped them from doing anything.
No, and in a way pushed them towards independence. And we've always said, sometimes we've had, a sassy comeback from our young children. And we kind of think you can't ask for independence and not have that. It's a double-edged sword, Of course they're going to be be like that. So, but Asia's younger, she's 15. Yeah. And that's tough. And I can't help thinking I've created a cycle in a way where, because I lost my mum, I left my mum very early in life as a young teenager. And now, they're both older than I was when I left. They're going to have that again. But they're nothing like I am because they have Alan, and Alan.
But I still think that they're going to draw on the inspiration from you.
Yeah, definitely. I'll always, I've always told them to think further. Come on, you have extrapolate upon that. They all know these big words that mum uses, and extrapolate your thinking. Don't just stop there.
Yeah.
Don't just say that is it. What if it's not it? We've always had a saying, I don't know is not an answer. And kids, especially in their sullen times, well, I don't know. I don't know is not an answer.
And the more you know, the more you don't know.
The more you know, that's right. The more you know, the more you don't know. So, but you don't know how much of this sticks, because if you try to think back to when you were 15 or 21, you don't really remember much. Like you remember moments, but there's a lot you don't remember. But they have an awesome father. So lucky to have chosen Alan to be their father, because he's awesome, so that continues. Okay,
so when the time comes, how are you going to look back at your life?
Right, so what I learned when I was up there, out of my body, is that there isn't any judgment. I do not, so there, I had this spiritual, I do A Course in Miracles. It's a big spiritual book, and kind of something you do every day, and what it is about is non-judgment, no sin. Our job is to forgive everybody, because we're just having this experience right now equally, Be kind, because you don't know what somebody else is going through, so it's very much about kindness and forgiveness. But I do not believe, well, not for 1 second, that if we are this big awareness, that we are then given this slither of reality for 10, and that this is your training ground of where you're going to be judged from. So over you go. You're not going to get your whole awareness. You're just going to get a fragment of it, and then you're going to be tested on it. And at the end of your life, oh well, that was bad, and that was pretty good. And that's nonsense. That's very. It's a very human way of trying to, because we love revenge, and we know it's going to come back to haunt them, kind of a thing. I don't believe that.
But are you going to be filled with satisfaction?
Yeah. My gosh, yeah. Like from when I was 17, recognizing I'm out of England, like being able to choose the life on purpose, not having to wait till I was retired. I'm so lucky. Like some people do this whole chemo stuff and radiation stuff and still have to keep their job because they need to pay the bills. And hallelujah. Like I feel like I've done it the other way around. I retired at 24. And now I'm 47.
I know exactly what you mean, because I turned professional at 21.
Yeah.
And I've never done a job since.
That's right.
It's always been my passion.
That's right.
My work has been my passion.
So when you was on the, having a heart attack.
Yeah. I remember feeling so relaxed and calm and thinking, well, if this is it, what a fantastic life.
So be it. That's right.
And isn't that a beautiful way to be?
Oh my goodness. I've done everything. I've been married, I've been in love, I've had beautiful children, I've built a home, I've chosen the country that I wanted to live in, I've been able to have my family and friends come to my home and show them Thailand. I mean, like you said to me when we met, socially when we meet, have you got a bucket list? Like, no. I've done it all. Like, I can't think of something, you know what, I never got to do that. Yeah. Nothing. There's nothing.
And that's a great way to be.
Yeah.
And so really and truly, if it's painless, then it's going to be a very nice transition.
Yes, that's what I want it to be. That's why I want to be here. I don't want to, yes, I could go back to England and go into a hospice there, but I want to be the very last breath. I want to have fun with this.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. How do you have fun?
Well, I'll come around and sing Happy Fish for you, right?
Happy Fish. Happy Fish. Yeah, that's right. So, I love Monty Python. I love that whole,
Oh, they were streets ahead of their time with their thinking, weren't they?
They really were.
Yeah.
Because what's the alternative? To have this kind of morose, sorrowful, I don't...
No, but I think a lot of people would be worried, and the thing that would do their head in is just not knowing.
Yeah, but then I've always dived into the unknown.
Yeah.
Not knowing. Dived in. When I left home when I was a teenager, that you dived into the unknown. I didn't know how can it happen? How can you live a life without a family?
A lot of people they like to know what they're going to do tomorrow, next day, and blah blah.
Boring,
and that's it. But there's a lot of people like that. They like a structured life.
And then death's pretty hard for a lot of people.
So I'm taking it that your advice is don't have a structured life and take things as they come.
you can only be who you taught yourself to be, or who the environment has taught yourself to be. Like, I don't think they're doing it wrong. You know, a person who's terrified of dying because they're of the unknown, they are being exactly who they need to be, and that's their journey, and they will need more support and love from the people around them to take away the fear. I do know that looking at a lot of people's end of life, I mean, sometimes that's what pain is for. Because when you're just dealing with your own pain and not being in pain, you do forget about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really, there's no greater way to focus than being in pain, because it brings you right here, right now.
Course, yeah.
So maybe that's what the purpose of pain is. And then, you know, like everything has
it's another
purpose.
positive way of looking at it. You never end, do you?
No. I'm asking the people around me to come on, like, chin up. Like, this is. Well, but when I do have you know, sometimes I do think, like, my children, of course, how are they going to be? How is my husband going to handle this? What happens about, like, a funeral or
But you can
like
just
that?
look back on your own.
So I tell myself that's not my burden.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
So stop interfering, Mum. You know, like, stop thinking like, well, I hope
You can
Asia
always
does
think
this.
it's going to make them stronger.
Well, yeah, it definitely is, because they're amazing. And, you know, I always think of children as knowing a lot more than the adults around them. This is kind of my bugbear with teachers, you know, if the adults just get out of the way and trust in the intrinsic genius of young people, they can do better. So definitely, when the sorrow and time always does. Like, my husband and I, we went to the doctor for the results, and the doctor was just like, yeah, you read them. So we're sitting there reading this technical stuff, but we're both well educated in this. Like you say, it's been going on a while, this cancer thing. So we recognise, oh shit, right, it's in the lung, it's in the bone, it's in the, we know what this is. And that's like a punch. So in that moment when we come out, we both can't talk to each other, we've got tears in our eyes, it's like bloody hell. And for a couple of days we needed to have bite-sized conversations, because we would just start, you know, crying. But then on, like, the third day,
It becomes like reality.
Yeah, it sinks in.
Yeah.
So time is a healer, and so I think that's
It's
what
like
will
a
happen.
new reality.
You know, Mum will go, and it will be a drama. Oh my God, who do we call? How do we do this? Mum's body, you know, whatever. That will be a drama. That will be an emergency. That will be tough. They have to deal with all of that. But with every hour, with every day, it sinks in. And like you say, cancer is a gift in that it doesn't happen instantly. They've been dealing with this for 2 years, you know. So then time is a healer. And then, you know, then it becomes a bit numb. And then you might have a bout, like a song or a bad joke. Oh, that's Mom. Oh, I love that. and then you just move on, you know. And then you find that, you know, new people come into their lives, new experiences. Their relationship with each other will change, you know. I'm sure it will become even more strong. Then, you know, they have to look after their dad, or their dad will have to look after them, and you know. And so when I do think about that, and it's like, oh, what will they do? What will they? I hope they do. And then I think, whoa, I'm not going to be here. So stop you know, mums have a tendency to interfere. Stop interfering.
Just relax.
And trust. You know, they are
That's a good word.
They are all amazing people, and they're going to be just more amazing for it.
Yeah. Well, all I can say, it's been a pleasure knowing you, because as you know, I'm probably the most positive person I know, except that you beat me.
I don't beat you.
So I'm looking to you
I always say,
for inspiration.
I always say anyone can. Barry is the most positive person I know. Not because you know, you do the music and you continue to do it, but when we meet, and we meet quite regularly, you never talk bad about anybody.
Well, there's no point.
Well,
you know,
several people have a point.
I could talk bad about certain people.
You could, and you don't.
No, but you don't need that negativity in your life.
Well,
do you?
I love that about you, because when I meet with other people, you know, people do, and especially in a small town, and especially, you know, we've all got more time on our hands, but you don't.
But plus, also, I'm very content with myself.
Yes.
You know, and some people look at that as arrogance.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think so.
No,
I think it's a good thing. I've thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been the same.
Definitely. Yeah. And people, you know, and people always talk about you. And, you know, probably for me, they think I've got my head in the clouds, like I don't believe in reality, you know, because I'm always like, well, there's another way to look at this. For example, we just spoke about pain, you know, it's a brilliant way to focus in. And so therefore that's what it has, that's what it does. And fear, you know, my daughter's when she's taking an exam. Oh, I'm scared, but what does fear do? It focuses you in, you know.
So every day, just think positively, right? That's the message,
you've got
really,
now.
Isn't it?
That's right. You've got right now, and so enjoy it. And the other good thing about being end of life, if you like, is do what you want.
But anyway, I just want to say, SJ, it's you're always fantastic to me, and you're going to be missed, all right?
Yes.
All right, but always look on the bright side of life. Super, super. Thanks, Barry. That's a good way to end.